Jay here for Stretford Paddock. This is the Paper Talk. As you can see, I'm in the studio. It's live. You know what to do. Get involved in the chat and the comments. Loads of stories to get through on this bank holiday. I hope you're having a nice bank holiday weekend. People already in the chat. People already saying how late. Jay says, not me, another Jay. How late will Jay be today? Only 2 minutes, which isn't really late, is it? Does that even count? Santa Notch, always good to see you. Scott Curden, Jamie White, Stu Greeno, S. Fletcher, loads of people there. Some of the usual suspects, shall we say. Shall we start with a bit of transfer news? We love a nice bit of transfer news, don't we? This is a story, I think this is from the Manchester Evening News. You can see it on your screens there. United sending scouts to watch Ramos. So this is obviously your man there, Gonzalo Ramos from Benfica. Looks like United are monitoring him, sending scouts, looking at him. We know all the buzzwords, don't we, when it comes to a transfer story, and this one is sort of hitting that mark. Now, listen, we know, well, we suspect, we expect that Manchester United are going to be in the market for a striker next season because, let's face facts, we need one. At the minute, we've got Andy Martial, who's always injured. We've got obviously Wout Weghorst, who's just a short-term option. I'd be very surprised if he was to stay on next season. So we need something a little bit more long-term, and it looks like this guy could be the answer. I mean, what do you think? Is he someone that you think could do a job for Manchester United? Do you think we need to go aim a little bit higher? Is it wrong to say that? Or is he good enough? I mean, we have been linked with Victor Osimhen. We have been linked with Harry Kane. You would argue those two certainly slightly more established. You know, Osimhen is relatively young himself. Harry Kane, very established. Ramos obviously sort of became well known or involved in more sort of transfer rumours following the World Cup, where he had that very good World Cup, including that hat-trick, of course, in the quarterfinals against was it not in the quarterfinals? Sorry, it was the last 16, wasn't it? When he scored, I'm just having a look, yeah. He replaced Ronaldo, played against Switzerland, got that hat-trick. That was it then. He was linked with everyone, including Manchester United. Now, he is having a very good season for Benfica. It is worth noting it's not just on the back of that game for Portugal. He scored 17 goals in the league in Benfica, for Benfica this season, 25 in all competitions in 37 appearances. So he's a very good player. Now, you look at his numbers, they compare quite favourably. You know, he's up there with the likes of Harry Kane and the likes of Victor Osimhen. The sort of the twist or the caveat is Harry Kane's obviously doing it in the Premier League, well established for years. He's on a different level right now. Victor Osimhen as well. You could argue that Serie A is a tougher league than the Portuguese one. So it looks like he's the sort of, what I would think anyway, would be the third option. If you can't get Osimhen or you can't get Kane, then you maybe look at Ramos. So it makes sense that United are looking at him. I don't know how sort of strong those links are, though. I don't know if we're looking at him going, he's our target, he's our priority, or if it's just going to be, this is a backup option. This is someone, if we can't get Harry Kane over the line or we can't get Victor Osimhen, then maybe we look at someone like Ramos. Let us know what you think. Are you interested in this lad? Do you think he could be the answer for Manchester United? Or do you think we need to go all out for a Harry Kane or a Victor Osimhen? I keep saying those two players because those are the ones we've been linked with the most heavily. And it might not be either of them. It might not even be this kid. But every story I see, or at least every day, there's another sort of story or another update. And it keeps sort of gathering momentum that it's either going to be Harry Kane or Victor Osimhen. We had a story a couple of weeks ago that United had made contact with Harry Kane's people, whoever those people are. So it looks like there was some sort of movement there. Victor Osimhen has been linked with us for quite some time. We know both Harry Kane and Victor Osimhen are going to cost quite a lot. But I think this kid is as well. He's young, he's banging in goals, his stock has risen, and Benfica, they're not shy of getting a few quid, are they, for players? I think if you look at what they did in the summer, was it Darwin Núñez came from there, obviously cost €100 million. So it'd be interesting to see what happens. I'll get in some of the comments because I want to know what you guys think. If you've watched a lot of Ramos, because I haven't seen a lot of him, I'm not going to pretend to see I have. I saw that hat-trick against Switzerland for Portugal, but that doesn't tell you much, does it, about a player long term? Lucky Singh says, Ramos, I am looking for. Asaya Otunge says, good afternoon, Jay. I think you must be in a different time zone unless you're just, you're in England and you're getting your times wrong. Nigel Moore says, morning, Jay, working on Good Friday. Well done, thank you. Tina Telefson Totoka says, do we have money to buy a number 9? Do we have to sell before we buy? Are the number 9s out for under for under 100 million in the world. So yeah, I mean, I think we should have budget for a number 9, surely. We may have to sign or sell some more players if we want to bring in more players. I'm curious as to what's going to go on in the summer in terms of, obviously, we'll get to the ownership in a minute, and is that's going to affect us, give us more money. But do we have much of a budget, and do we have to sort of move players on to bring in more players? Because I think we've been linked with a midfielder. There's still something going on with Frenkie de Jong there. It still doesn't seem to have gone away fully. I know there's different stories every day. We obviously need a number 9. There's always been this talk of a right-back, whether that's Denzel Dumfries or Jeremy Frimpong or whoever. We keep getting linked with these right-backs. Even Pavard, I think the kid from Bayern Munich we were linked with not long ago. So if all these players are going to come in, are we going to have to move some players on? Also, financial fair play seems to be a bit of a thing now as well, after many years of it just being something that everyone ignored. Gareth Rodway says, only thing I care about is Glazers out. Sorry, Jay, don't apologise. Gary Smith, welcome to the Academy. Thanks for your support. If you are a member, there's more content, extra content on the members section. Thank you for everyone who supported us. Not just members, but, you guys watching as well. It's much appreciated. Gamer Bean says, Glazers are like Klingons, just can't flush them away. It's a rather graphic image for a Good Friday, innit? But I get your point. T-Dub says, first option for me, talking about Ramos. Yeah, let us know what you think. Liam Morris says, get Mbappe. BMW Racing 1974 says, we need a mix of both experience and youth. Minty 1987 says, Osimhen will be the best option. Jay and Joe's adopted son, Benjamin, says, hey, Jay, you're the best. Thank you. Ann L says, morning, Jay. I think FFP, financial fair play, limits us enormously. New owner can only plough in 30 million over the FFP limit. So, yeah, we'll do a bit of a deep dive into FFP. We'll do that in the coming weeks, so we'll get into the nitty gritty of it all, because I'm always a bit like, how much of a thing is it? Is there any loopholes? We know that Chelsea used all their loopholes or all their sort of machinations. Didn't they give in players 8-year contracts because that was some sort of way around it? But I've heard that's been closed now. So we want to see just what the situation is, because it might not just be that, a new owner comes in and goes, here's a blank check to Erik ten Hag. If financial fair play is a thing, then Erik ten Hag's going to have to cut his cloth accordingly. And that may entail certain players being moved on. So if that is the case, who's going to be moved on? We've already had this discussion on the channel several times. We had a bit of a chat about it on the Paddock podcast. I think Steve and Joe had a chat about it as well, with a bit of tier list there as well. So you can go and check out our opinions, and also you can get involved as well. Sashiv Verma says, what's the update on the takeover? I'm going to get into the takeover in a minute, so don't worry, because we have got a little bit of update on there. Rashan Kamath says, finally caught a live one. Good morning, Jay. Thank you, and good morning to you. Should we talk about contracts anyway? Because the story doing the rounds is from Sky Sports. So you can say, Manchester United contracts analyse Marcus Rashford patience, De Gea to sign on reduced terms. So it says there, it's looking... I saw another story, I think, doing the rounds in the MEN as well, about Marcus Rashford, that Erik ten Hag wants it sorted by the summer. He's happy for this season to sort of go by without Marcus putting pen to paper, but he does want it sorted by the summer, which you can understand. Now, the rumours, the reports are that Marcus is going to sign a new deal. We know that Paris Saint-Germain are big fans of his. They've been after him for a long time, I think going back, to some of Thomas Tuchel days. But from what we gather, Marcus is a big United fan. He's obviously having a fantastic season. He's playing well for this manager, seems to have a good relationship with the manager, has a fantastic rapport with the fans. As we all know, he's Manc born and bred. Hopefully, we can get him signed on a long-term deal, because I'd like to see Marcus Rashford spend his entire career at United. I love Marcus Rashford, and I think we're seeing the best of him now. And I think, actually, we are seeing the best of him, but I don't think that's the limit. I think he can carry on doing this, and maybe we can see something even better next season. But definitely, I don't think we need to be moving Marcus Rashford on. I think we need to be keeping him and bringing in a striker to play alongside him, or for him on that left-hand side, and a striker down the middle. So, yeah. We've seen that Luke Shaw signed a new deal. We know that one, a new 4-year deal. Again, that made a lot of sense. David De Gea is a bit of a funny one, because it looks like he's going to be offered a new deal and he's going to sign a new deal, but on reduced terms. Now, for me, it's not about just the money with David De Gea. The big question is he going to be our number one? Now, there's two camps here with David De Gea. There's those that are like, listen, the kid's a club legend. He's won trophies with us. He's kept us in games so many times over the years. He's been player of the year, 4 times out of 6 years, whatever it was. How can we even be considering moving him on? There's another camp that says, well, if you look at the football that Erik ten Hag wants to play, playing out from the back, you look at goalkeepers now, how the game's sort of evolved a little bit. They're a bit more of a sweeper. Is David De Gea that guy? Probably not. Can he work in an Erik ten Hag system? There's one man who knows the answer to that, and that is Erik ten Hag. So it'll depend on whether the manager says to him, look, stay on reduced terms, but you might have to fight for your place, and he brings someone else in. We have been linked with a few keepers. Or he just says, sign a new deal. Yes, I'm not going to keep you on the money you're on because you're on ridiculous money. I think he's the highest paid goalkeeper ever. But you are my guy, and I do want you to stay, but you are going to take a bit of a pay cut. Get involved in the chat in the comments. Let us know what you think. Peter Griffith says, in Eric we trust. Yep, Peter Griffith also says, he's talking a lot of sense here, Rashford will break Rooney's scoring record. It's not going to be easy, but it's possible. If Marcus Rashford continues scoring like he has this season, then it's doable. Shadran Malpotra says, sell Rashid, giving him new contract would be foolish. Sorry, don't agree with that whatsoever. Jay Coda says, in Eric Ten Hag, we trust you. Yeah, we do. Sam Thomas says, reduce Cahilla's contract so it's easier to move on the next season when we can replace him. So me said about maybe moving him on next season. So we have some takeover updates because we all love a bit of a takeover update. There you go. You can see it in the Mirror. I've seen this in a few papers actually. We've got it here from the Mirror. Glazers finally ready to take next step in Man United's sale and enter negotiations. There's Qatari banker Sheikh Jassim bin Hamad Al Thani, Ineos chief Sir Jim Ratcliffe, and Finnish entrepreneur Thomas Ziakis all want to complete a takeover of Manchester United. Now, it does seem to me that the two main candidates here are Sir Jim Ratcliffe and Sheikh Jassim. Thomas Ziliakis, he has some nice ideas about it being half owned by him, I think, and half by the fans. I'm not sure how realistic those ambitions are. Listen, I'd love to see Manchester United fan-owned. It'd be a dream come true. I just don't think it's ever going to happen. And I'm happy to be proven wrong. It says there, United owners put the club up for sale in November with the Qatari banker and Ineos chief as well, and Finnish entrepreneur. Other parties are interested in buying a minority stake. That's the sort of worry in it from a lot of Manchester United fans. We've heard that this Elliott Management Group, or whatever they're called, could fund a minority stake. We hear that Joel and Avram Glazer want are reluctant to sell, and they want to keep hold of the club, but their siblings do want to sell. So there's a bit of a disagreement there, and it seems that they're going to have to sell because they haven't got the money to buy out the siblings, unless there is a twist in the tail and someone like this Elliott Management Group fund them with some sort of minority stake. I don't think that's going to happen, and I hope it doesn't, because we can have a discussion about our new owners down the line, but for me, the Glazers have got to go. We've had 18 years of this. You've seen the recent financial reports, and if you haven't, I'll tell you about them. We're still £980 million in debt, which is amazing to me. You've got a stadium that's falling apart to the point that it actually needs rebuilding. That's going to cost another $1 billion. And you've got a training ground which has gone from modern to vintage. It's not been altered really, other than a few trees put up and cut down over the last 20 odd years. So they've just left this club to just almost disintegrate. I know that sounds like a bit of a strong word, but you look at what our rivals have done in the time since the Glazers took over and where we're at, it's an absolute disgrace. So here you can see, it says, as reported by the Telegraph, these talks will start in the coming days. It is believed both Sheikh Jassim and Ratcliffe have offered more than $5 billion for the Glazers shares, which would eclipse the record $3.8 billion sale of the NFL team Denver Broncos last year. The Glazers are determined to get $6 billion for their 69% stake in United, which is a controlling share. It's believed Ratcliffe wants to buy the Glazers, but not the rest of the shareholders, while Sheikh Jassim wants to purchase 100% of the club. So it all rests on the Glazers, really, doesn't it? These negotiations, though, they should start taking place soon. We've been hearing reports that sort of the bidders are getting a bit restless. Why is it taking so long? What's the next step? And you've got two very rich people in Sir Jim Ratcliffe and Sheikh Jassim. Sir Jim Ratcliffe, obviously Britain's richest man. Sheikh Jassim, though, he's got access to the Qatari fund. His wealth is almost limitless, I should say. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. It does feel like the Qatari bid is the favourite, but you never know. And the last thing we want, I think, from what I gather from everyone I've spoken to, and I don't like speaking about, on behalf of United fans, I'll speak on behalf of myself, but literally everyone I've spoken to has said they want the Glazers gone. So any sort of insinuation that the Glazers might be staying is a little bit of a worry. But like I say, I don't think that will happen. Get involved in the comments and let me know what you think. Tina Telefson Tatoka says, read that the Qatari want to get Mbappe. Okay, we'll have to wait and see. I mean, there could be something there. Miles says, but think of the tractor sponsorships, Jay. Lucky Singh says, we waiting. RB says, who's having fish and chips for tea tonight? I think we're having fish and chips for tea tonight. My missus said something about that. Is it something to do with Good Friday? Because he's got to have fish or something? Or is it just... Is that right, Priest Ethan? You can't have meat on Good Friday. Sorry, I'm not very religious, mate. So, producer Ethan, who is a devout religious person of some description, I don't think he knows what religion. He's just that's the way he is. He says you can't have meat on a Friday. So anyway, Friday's chippity. So that's the law. So fish and chips, why not? Saeed Barry says, who are they negotiating with? Good question. Ishan Tiwari says, why can't you meet on a Friday? Matthew Lambert says, Jay, how happy are you that I'm not going to call him that word. I'm going to call him Frank. For starters, he's not really fat, is he? If you look at him, he's not actually fat, Lampard. It's a nonsense that he's fat. And also, sizes him or whatever you want to call it. It's a bit mean, isn't it? It's, there's lots of things to throw shade at Frank Lampard about. Believe me, I love to do it. But he's waiting one of them. Him being back, I think it's great for the memes. That's all I'm going to say. Great for the memes. We'll wait and see what happens. The weird thing with Chelsea is the last 2 times he got interim managers in halfway through the season, they won the Champions League. I can't see it, but you never know. Honestly, football, who knows? Right, what's the next one? What's the next one on my list? It's more takeover stuff. There you go. This is from the Express. Right, I love this. Me and Ethan, producer Ethan, were talking about this a minute ago. It says here, Man United takeover, Sheikh Jassim decision, imminent, as bidders told to sign 2 stars. Right. Now, between me and Ethan, I think we've got the intelligence of a normal person between the two of us. And we looked through this article and we were struggling to find the 2 people that they've been urged to sign or whatever it is, or told to sign. So, yeah, I don't know what's going on there. I don't know who those 2 people are. Maybe it's like one of the, maybe it's an interactive story. You fill in the blanks. So you tell him, you comment and say, here's who you should sign. Sign Mbappe or Neymar or whatever. I don't know. But yeah, it's the bit of the story that is there is that the moves or the takeover is ticking along and something's happening behind the scenes, which we're hearing from other publications as well. It's not just from the Express. So it looks like there's a bit of movement. We will keep you posted. We will. It's what we do. So as soon as we hear anything, it'll be on our socials and we'll go live and all that jazz. So hopefully we'll find out something, because you don't want this dragging on, do you? Because the more it drags on, the more worry you get. Are they going to try and pull some shenanigans? Right. What is that it? Is that it for me? Well, I want to talk about something, because me and producer Ethan, right, and I've spoken about him a lot today, because it's me and him in here today. Alexi on the socials in as well. But he's a Newcastle fan. You'll have seen him on our watch along. And apparently, according to, the law and industrial tribunals, I'm not allowed to sack him because Newcastle beat us, which is, unfortunate. But, here we go. We have to abide by these rules. Anyway, me and him were chatting a minute ago. Now, I've seen that Michael Oliver is going to be the referee for United versus Everton. And there's this picture doing the rounds of Michael Oliver in a Newcastle kit. Now, I thought, that might be a Photoshop thing, or it's something that someone's created. It's not real. He's not going to be a Newcastle fan. Well, apparently he is a Newcastle fan. Producer Ethan says his mate knows him. I've looked at it as well. There was an article in the Chronicle about him watching the Newcastle, I think it was a Newcastle United game, funnily enough, a couple of years ago, wearing a Newcastle top. He's from that neck of the woods, and it's well known that he's actually a Newcastle fan. And I just can't believe that, because surely if you're a Newcastle fan and one who's, a ardent enough fan to wear the top and watch the games, you shouldn't be refereeing a game that affects your club. Manchester United and Newcastle are both going for top 4. We know this. It's well documented, and I don't need to rehash it. We all saw the reaction after the game at St James's. Newcastle are right bang in the middle of the top 4 hunt, as are Manchester United. So how can you have a Newcastle fan refereeing a game between United and Everton if the outcome of that game is going to have a direct effect on Newcastle's top 4 chances? Am I missing something here? Am I going a bit OTT? Or is that just completely insane that could happen? Because any decision that looks a bit dodgy, or that you think, actually, that's not fair on United, is going to get scrutinised. You're going to get people going, well, has he done that because he wants Newcastle to get in the top 4? Am I wrong? Get involved in the chat in the comments. Have I got this completely wrong? And is it, come on, Jay, he's a referee, he's professional, he's not going to let things influence him. But I know in the past, referees who've got ties to clubs haven't been allowed to referee games that influence those clubs, because a lot of referees do support clubs. The football fans, that's why they get into refereeing. So they do have ties to clubs. So there's always been a thing where, well, that referee can't have anything to do with these games because he's got. I remember years ago going to Bolton's training ground, and Mark Halsey, the referee, was there, and he wasn't allowed to referee games involving Bolton or games I think that can affect Bolton, because he had connections to that club and he used to train there. He used to do his training there to keep himself fit. So I don't know. Is it me or what? Am I missing something here or what? Some people say, yeah, I mean, I've said you are spot on. Jesse Lingard says Mike Oliver has a Forest jersey with my name on the back. Yeah, Peter Griffiths says Sloppy Joe's legend as well. Big up Ethan. Can we not? Can we not big up Ethan, right? Okay, do you know what I mean? Can we not bang on about how good Sloppy Joe's is, even the way it is? Gamer Beans says that's nuts. He shouldn't be allowed to manage the match. Starlord says Motty MVP. Bradley Wales says Kitarin. Listen, hit that like button actually. What's going on? How come I've only got 181 likes and there's almost 1,500 people watching? So what about? Sam Potter says, J-Man, what a legend. Thank you. So can we have some more likes, please? Because that's, Good Friday. Where's the Good Friday spirit? Do you remember what Jesus said? He said, make sure you like, share and subscribe. Apparently. Probably not, because the internet didn't exist when he was around. Jacoya Trot says, Ronaldo conspiracy spirit. Got you, Jay. Do you know what? It probably has. Maybe a conspiracy spirit has got me. But I am that guy. And I am going to lose my mind if decisions go against us from Michael Oliver. And I will be tweeting something that probably gets me in trouble. So I'm just going to put it out there. Right. We've got 253 likes. I can live with that. Thank you, everyone who's got involved. Dave says, hashtag Glazers out. I agree with that. Oh, my days. Someone's saying something a bit grim there that I can't read out there. S. Fletcher says, big up, Jay. Another great stream, mate. First time I've caught a live in a long while. Well worth the wait. Such lovely people on Good Friday. It seems to be a better class of people on Good Friday. I'm not going to lie to you. Some nice comments there. Honest comments. Right, I'm going to wrap it up there. We're going to be back shortly with a preview. I've got an Everton fan coming in. I don't know what's going on with this channel at the minute. Newcastle fans on watch along, Everton fans on preview. It's all going to the dogs, isn't it? But he's a good lad. So come and check that out. That should be out later on this afternoon. And then it'll be me and Stephen Housen on the brew. And then tomorrow you'll have the Everton watch along. Of course, it's a big game and it's a must-win game, that one. So make sure you are hitting like, share and subscribe. I've been Jay Motty. This has been, my words out then, this has been the Paper Talk. Thanks for watching.